The physical infrastructure powering the AI industry is being pushed past a breaking point. Global demand for artificial intelligence has wildly outpaced the capacity of the world's data centers, creating a systemic bottleneck that is starting to shut down the lights. This hardware shortage recently exposed a massive vulnerability inside Meta. Despite championing their own open-source models, Meta's internal teams were secretly using Google's Gemini API to run their core moderation and safety pipelines. Their own Alma models simply couldn't handle the scale of their internal systems. But that lifeline has been severed. Citing its own internal compute shortage, Google officially cut off Meta's access to the API, forcing Zuckerberg's engineers to implement strict token rationing across the company. This wasn't a tactical move by Google, it was a physical necessity. As this chart shows, Google Cloud's undelivered contract backlog has doubled to a staggering $460 billion. They simply don't have the hardware to fulfill their existing promises. This sudden eviction left Meta cornered, while OpenAI entered the crisis with a distinct structural advantage. Through an exclusive multi-year infrastructure agreement with Microsoft, OpenAI secured dedicated capacity that remained insulated from the public cloud squeeze. This ring-fenced supply allowed them to continue deploying flagship models while their rivals were being rationed. The industry has reached a point where software brilliance is irrelevant without the physical power to run it. Survival in this market now requires a strategy built around actively dismantling a rival's underlying business model. OpenAI is attempting to consolidate its lead by building a vertically integrated, proprietary hardware ecosystem. This strategy centers on the launch of their GPT-5.6 Soul model, which moves the company away from general-purpose software toward a closed-tier capability model. Soul dominates benchmarks using an ultra mode. The model decomposes a complex task, activating parallel subagents to solve components simultaneously. However, this architecture is punishingly expensive. On standard cloud GPUs, the cost of running many parallel subagents compounds instantly, making enterprise deployment nearly impossible. To solve the cost problem, OpenAI bypassed the standard supply chain entirely. They partnered with Broadcom to design Jalapeño, a custom inference-only ASIC. By stripping away the logic needed for training, this massive chip reduces the total cost of ownership by an estimated 50%. OpenAI is now moving to secure this hardware advantage through direct political alignment. They've indefinitely delayed the public release of GPT-5.6, restricting its use to a gated cohort of 20 pre-approved domestic partners. To cement this status, they are now in negotiations to grant the U.S. government a 5% equity stake in the company. This is no longer a traditional software play. OpenAI is building a closed, state-backed hardware ecosystem that is designed to be completely immune to standard cloud competition. After being locked out of the cloud and watching OpenAI fortify its position, Mark Zuckerberg responded with an aggressive campaign to buy up the remaining global hardware supply. Zuckerberg raised Meta's capital expenditure to an unprecedented $145 billion, hoarding hardware. Meta is weaponizing this infrastructure by releasing its highly efficient Llama 4 models entirely for free, flooding the market to drown the API revenue of competitors. To support this flood, Meta developed decomp-RL. Instead of relying on expensive GPU inference to verify complex code, decomp-RL breaks problems into modules and shifts verification to cheap local CPU clusters, slashing generation costs by 50 times and neutralizing OpenAI's advantage. Meta's final threat is purely algorithmic. Leaked internal data shows their next model, Watermelon, has already achieved absolute performance parity with OpenAI's GPT-5.5. Meta is leveraging its massive cash reserves to sustain a campaign of pure financial attrition. They are willing to burn hundreds of billions of dollars on infrastructure purely to ensure OpenAI cannot maintain a profitable moat. The unified AI ecosystem is dead. It has permanently fractured into two incompatible realities: closed sovereignty against open commodity. For enterprise developers, the choice is a stark trade-off. They can pay OpenAI's premium for government-backed high-fidelity agents, but they must accept total lock-in within a closed ecosystem and the risk of agentic drift. The alternative is the Meta blueprint, using free, open-weight models to build local, air-gapped infrastructure that bypasses cloud APIs entirely. For the everyday consumer, this blood feud is a win. With Meta flooding the market to destroy OpenAI's margins, the baseline cost of interacting with frontier AI is effectively dropping to near zero. But the cost to build and sustain these models is now so high that it will financially break whichever titan blinks first. The era of friendly algorithmic scaling is over. The future of artificial intelligence belongs to whichever company can survive the longest physical and financial siege.